Okay, I put in a call.
That was fast.
Yeah, well, do you have any idea who could have done this?
I did probably piss off the girls at the lake. Ugh, fuck them.
Well, I'll have the Rangers keep an eye out for a couple of young women and question any they find. I can't believe someone would do this. I worry about bears and fires, and that's about it. And now I've got to worry about some, violent campers? Okay. In the morning I'm gonna call my friend Patty, who works the desk down in Cody. They keep a list of everyone who's officially been in and out of the trailhead since, I don't know, forever, and see if we can get a list of names. We won't get much, but at least if anything else happens, we can refer to it and see if anything comes up.
Thanks.
I need you to feel safe out here.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, you can protect yourself, huh?
I've done it before.
Okay, tough guy. Wake up. Hey, wake up.
I'm awake. What's your problem?
Our problem.
Sorry, our problem.
That storm knocked out the phone line I used to talk to the service, which means we're cut off. I tried radioing out, and that's not working either. I don't really know why that would be the case.
Can I go fix it?
Well, you probably can't, but what you can do is hike out to where the wire runs through your area and report back if it's down. Then I can track down a ranger to get someone on it.
Okay, I can do that. Where is it?
Remember that cave you hiked through yesterday?
Yeah, of course.
So you're gonna want to go back there, go through it, and keep going straight to the north when you come out.
Will do.
Thanks, Hank.
It's Henry.
What, you don't like Hank?
Yeah, I don't like Hank.
But thanks rhymes with Hank.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, all right.
Hey, I'm Chris.
And I'm Sean, and day one ended abruptly. A lot of games don't do that structurally.
Yeah.
You sort of get to an end point, you touch a flag, or you continue on infinitely with no cuts.
Right.
Cuts are very rare in games that have sort of a...
First-person games especially.
Yeah.
The idea for that came from the movie Dallas Buyers Club.
So interesting.
I know. I remember so specifically seeing the first time that movie cuts to a day title card where you learn that the Matthew McConaughey character has diagnosed with AIDS and essentially given 30 days to live. And then it cuts and it says day one. And it was that was like a gut punch when you see that because of what it implies. And I was like, oh man, our game is set in basically a limited amount of time. And there's like this tense thing that happens that makes it, it's not as though there's like a specific date that's coming up, but there is like tension now that exists. Also, we had to figure out just how to get around the fact that we had a big open world and needed to tell a linear story. And so I just came in the next day and pitched that idea based on that movie.
And we all just thought it was like stylish and interesting and solved so many problems, so we did it.
Ended up creating a lot more problems, but I think it worked overall.
Yeah, it was great.
It's actually pretty damn cold out here.
Roger that. Warms up fast. The mornings are cold in Boulder, though, right?
Yeah, they are.
What did you get up to down there? I mean, what's life like?
I don't know. Just used to spend a lot of time with our dog, Mayhem.
Mayhem? What kind of name is that?
He was a German Shepherd, big as a truck.
So, why not call him Chevy?
Well, we walked out of the shelter and there was some graffiti on a trash can and it said Dicko Mayhem. And he walked over and peed all over it and there you go.
That's a really cute story?
It is what it is.
Hey, can you hold on a sec?
Sure. Just gonna keep hiking and hoping it warms up.
Heyo. I don't think so. Why, have you? Okay, good. No, I don't think he has any idea. I'm absolutely sure. Would you? All right, I'll let you know if anything changes in that regard. Hey, sorry about that. Anyway, I thought about it, and that story is cute, and, sorry, but you said we? You owned him with someone?
That would be my wife, Julia.
Oh, like your wife, or like she's taken half my stuff wife?
My wife.
But you're here.
It's not really your business.
I'm sorry, but you're the one who brought her up.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
Whatever, it's fine. Look, I gotta go do a thing downstairs. I'll bring a radio, though.
So, if I'm at the medicine wheel, am I getting close to that wire?
No, you're off track. The easiest thing to do would be to head back to your tower, then north through the canyon.
A little help?
Yeah?
Hey, I know you said head back to my tower, but I ended up back at the medicine wheel again.
Your compass is your friend, Henry. And your tower is, just a little bit northeast of you.
Got it.
And the canyon is due north from there.
Who are these guys, Ron and Dave? They're leaving notes for each other in the boxes. Is there any chance one of them was that guy I saw in the canyon? You know, the guy with the flashlight?
No, they're both rangers. They're not out here this season. I didn't really know him that well, but I always assumed the only thing Ron cared about was chasing tail and getting loaded. It's somehow comforting to know that he was able to keep up a correspondence with someone who wasn't going to send him a topless Polaroid.
Whoa, Delilah, the trail I hiked in on, it's gone.
What is this, the Twilight Zone?
No, there was a rock slide. Is there another path out of the thoroughfare?
Let me think.
Oh my God, I guess I'm lucky I wasn't on it when it happened.
Yeah, for sure. You know, without some impossible mountaineering, there's not really another way out.
So what the hell?
We'll fly you out? I mean, sometimes folks get cut off by fire and we just scoop them up when it's time to go.
Okay.
Don't be nervous.
I don't like to fly.
Sometimes the guys have peanuts and pretzels.
Doesn't help.
And beer?
Okay, yeah.
Hi, Ollie.
Hi, Sean.
It's nice that we're doing a tape together.
I know, is this the first one?
It's our first and only one.
Oh, that's a shame.
I feel like we've done so much together not on tape, at least not recorded in a way that you know about.
Okay.
And here we are talking about Hawk's Rest.
Hawk's Rest.
You concepted this area quite a
Yeah,
bit.
the idea was that it would seem from the outside a sort of innocuous little house on the edge of a cliff, much like your own lookout, but when you open the door you get the surprise that it's been burnt away and you just see a vista and sort of rush of wind as you open that door, and I thought that would be a really fun reveal to the player.
Yeah, and I sort of screwed it up when I first wrote this scene because all the sort of Hawk's Rest dialogue and all the stuff about Raccoon Carter was as you were walking up the hill, you could report the cabin, which was a lookout tower, at the top of the hill, and then get into this story about its former inhabitant as you were approaching it, and then it sort of buried the moment in
Right,
a
yeah.
way. So we took all that stuff out, and I hacked in very inelegantly, I think, that Delilah just doesn't answer you when you ask her about what the house at the top of the hill is. And then you get to experience it alone before getting the story about Raccoon Carter. And I'm really happy with the way that worked out. Also,
There's a secret.
but the raccoon that lives in the stove that you may or may not know about is only there on certain days because of a myriad of design reasons. But if you're here on any day that isn't day 2 and you open that stove, there's a little
Spoilers.
critter in there. And that was animated by James, textured by Ollie, drawn by Ollie. I really like that raccoon, Oliver.
Thanks, Sean.
You did a very nice job on that raccoon. Also, you did a very nice job on the rest of the game, and I'm only going to tell you that on the Hawk's Rest tape. I'm actually going to edit this out. I don't want
Good.
anyone hearing me ever compliment you
Fantastic.
in the record, but because it's our only tape together. But yeah, I really love the way this area came together.
It's lovely. Lovely the way it is. Very nice. Well done.
Hey, it's Jake again.
And Mark's here.
So, is there anything style-wise that you had to consider on this game as opposed to doing work in like I don't know, a lot of the other stuff you've done is probably more AAA in scope.
Yeah, I mean, my previous work, I've done a lot more just ridiculous, over-the-top Hollywood-type blood squibs and explosions and laser beams and that kind of jazz. So it was neat to just sort of like stop and think about what the relevant effects to walking around a national park would be.
Right.
Just sort of ambient, natural, secondary motion that you would want in the world, without it being obnoxiously overpowered as most things you would do for a AAA action game.
You know, the entire world looks hazy and covered in smoke as the fire gets closer and closer, and obviously we couldn't just fill the entire world with smoke because everyone's graphics card would melt and it would also look like a big pile of garbage. So it seems like you and Paolo, who did a lot of the sort of programming side of this, ended up inventing this thing that the team called the Henry Smoke Barfer, which
I do think Nels actually coined that one, but yeah,
it was probably Nels.
Yeah, it's a very Nels thing to say.
Yeah, Henry at this point in the game is wandering around with basically a pigpen cloud around him. When you see the sparks flying around on day 79 or the sort of lingering haze on days 77 and 78, that's actually just Henry's body emitting those, then leaving them behind in a trail.
I made up a group of emitters that rotate around the watchtower that, you know, if you look real closely, you could probably make it out, but it gives that sort of feeling of it's super intensely smoky outside without having to...
You're in the middle of this big swirling storm, but actually it's just, 6 feet of smoke spinning around the outside of the building.
Yeah, pretty much.
Guess what?
What is it?
There's a bunch of empty cans up here.
Same as before?
Yep.
These fucking kids.
Why do you think they'd be up here?
Hell if I know, but they better have stayed away from our communication stuff.
I can see the wire you're talking about. It looks like it's in good shape from here.
We'll follow it up to the top of the trail if you can. You can head back as soon as you give me the all clear.
Got it.
Hey, Chris again.
And Sean.
Hey, if you saw the second trailer for Firewatch, there's a moment that takes place here where Delilah points out that there's someone in Henry's tower. Henry points out that he's not there. Camera swings back to the tower, and it's a big dramatic ending. Of course, that moment happens in a completely different part of the map in the actual game and has totally unrelated to this moment that you're now experiencing.
And this was a trailer that we had debuted with Sony at E3, so we knew we had a big audience and that a lot of people were going to see it. It's really, really challenging. I mean, you all know, because everyone goes to movies, what it's like to watch a trailer for a movie that you're excited about and maybe have already decided to see and then be shown too much stuff.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, a movie either has like the ability to or sort of the chutzpah to just show you a scene that hit the cutting room floor or an alternate version of something that gets you feeling the way you should feel and excited for the movie as presented, but doesn't spoil it for you. And I think I'm really happy that we ended up doing that. I think it's good. Like, you're not lying. It's not like we showed you a mechanic that you can't do or anything like that.
I think that we basically had to find a way to accurately convey the type of tension and mood of the game without spoiling it. And so we basically ended up just writing those trailers to fit. I think it worked.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, okay, the wire's down here.
Okay, good. Any sign of those girls? Did they mess with anything?
I'll look around. Hey, so the wire is definitely down out here. I just found it. Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't look like the wind. It looks like it was cut deliberately.
I knew it. The moment you said you found their trash. These idiots are gonna pay. Do they realize this is how people die? I mean, what if something happened to one of my lookouts while this was going on? And God forbid there's an actual fire burning out of control.
What do you want to do?
I want you to go find them.
And then what?
I haven't thought that far ahead. That's not true. Everything that comes to mind is illegal.
Let's hear it.
Oh yeah?
Hey, I came out here for a breath of fresh air and some adventure. What do you got?
I think I want you to just find them and scare the hell out of them.
Yeah, I'd make a spooky ghost costume, but they stole my sheets.
I don't know. Wait for them to wander off and wreck their camp. Something that would make a teenage girl run home to mommy and daddy.
I'll find them.
Thanks.
But I am gonna need a raise.
Don't hold your breath. I'd start by hiking back towards your tower and just keep an eye out for anything that would lead you to them.
Well, they're big into Red Eagle.
Great. See if you can find the path they took down from there. Maybe they looped back around towards the lake or something. I doubt they're where they were yesterday, but they obviously can't have gone far.
I've got an overgrown trail here,
Yeah, that'll happen.
so I'm screwed when it comes to getting past it.
Screwed until you clear it yourself, yeah.
Great. Well, if I come across some tools, I'll add groundskeeping to my ever-increasing list of responsibilities. Do you see anything from yours, like, the clues as to where they could be?
Clues. I really like your enthusiasm for mystery.
I'm just doing my job.
I like it. I do. I can't wait for you to give these girls a piece of our minds collective. But no clues. I can't see anything from here.
Hey, I'm out at a ravine. What's this thing that spans across it?
That is how you get to my sector.
No kidding. Well, let me hike over.
Well, it's locked up and mainly for emergencies. I've never actually used it. Rangers use it from time to time, but that's it.
Help! Oh, God, it's an emergency!
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got eyes on a tornado. I gotta get out of here.
A tornado in the heart of the Rockies?
Yes!
Holy moly, I need to call this in. Tom, Two Forks sees a tornado. He says he needs an evac into my sector. It's a meteorological impossibility. There haven't been tornadoes in the greater Yellowstone region in 100 million years. You're gonna need him to stay and take a detailed personal account, even if it means giving his life. Okay, I'll tell him. Sorry, Hank. No dice.
Man. There's an abandoned pack out here.
And it's not one of the teens?
No, it looks like it was lost a long time ago.
Well, you could always pilfer it for supplies.
Well, I am flush with ropes now. That pack was full of them, in decent condition, too.
That's lucky.
I mean, there's enough rope here that I could just leave them hooked up, I think. Oh, get this. This pack came with one of those cardboard single-use cameras.
With pictures left?
Yeah, he only used 3 or 4.
Neato.
Thank you, Brian Goodwin.
Wait, who?
The bag had the name Brian Goodwin sewn into the top.
Huh. Wow.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I just haven't heard that name in a few years.
He was a lookout?
Yeah, kinda, I guess. He was stationed in Two Forks, your lookout, with his dad Ned 3 summers ago. Great kid.
You can bring children out here?
No. You know, I'm not a stickler for rules. They took off halfway through the summer.
Is Ned that guy from the note I told you about? About the guy leaving his post?
Oh, could be, yeah, but I think at one point they just realized this job wasn't for them. For Brian, at least.
Huh.
Anyway, so it goes. Have, fun with that camera. Try not to snap anything that would scar a Photodome employee.
I don't know, I got a lot of hiking to do. Might get bored.
Well, I'm bored as rocks, so I'll keep you company while you find those girls, huh?
Hi, it's Ben.
Oh, it's Jake. Hey, Ben. So let's talk about Henry's camera. Or I guess more specifically, the Goodwin family camera. We liked the idea of Brian and his dad bringing one of those little cardboard cameras out with them. And we had thought at various points in production, maybe we should cut taking photos because it's really complicated. Maybe you should just see the ones at the end in the credits and be shocked by the Goodwin family.
When I joined the project, I actually was super excited about this feature. I liked the idea of having the camera have a little bit of a real-world feel to it. People seemed to like when you showed an animated GIF of it on Twitter. People went crazy remembering these things.
Especially once the idea was proposed that on PC you could print out your photos or you could upload them to the internet and get them developed, which is the thing that we do.
Yeah, the photos that we take are actually secretly 5 megapixel, first generation digital camera quality photos, but just good enough that if you print them out, they look okay.
Yeah, once we went all in on that as a concept, it seemed like having the camera in the game was an essential no-brainer. And then we went all in on making it work like a real camera. We really wanted, you'll have a fixed number of shots you can take. Every time you take a picture, Henry has to wind the camera by hand.
And some players ignore it and don't take pictures. They'll take the 2 that Delilah tells you to, and then the end credits will play and they'll see 2 pictures and maybe have a little feeling of loss that they didn't participate in that feature.
Yeah, or people who get super bummed because they get really into the mystery and take pictures of strange machines and ripped up campsites and a dead Brian Goodwin, and then get to the end credit sequence and go, oh, that was me.
Yeah, they only see the sad things.
I
Those
like
people
that
win.
depending on how much you use the camera and what you choose to take a picture of, you end up getting a different story at the end of the game. That's the thing that I think worked out the best with the camera and made me the happiest that we actually went all out on building this stupid thing.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Someone found a fossil and put it in a cache box.
Oh, really? Look, just so you know, I didn't mean to overstep my bounds earlier when you brought up your wife.
I know you didn't. You were just making conversation. I appreciate it.
So, tell me about her, if you want.
She's actually very sick. I shouldn't be here.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, you are here, and it's beautiful, and escaping isn't always something bad.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Chris here.
And Patrick.
Hey, Patrick. So at this point in the game, we're starting off on the search for the teens. One big challenge we frequently had on Firewatch was figuring out how to guide players when the person giving you your current objective doesn't actually know where to send you. Delilah knows you need to find the teens, but neither of you have any idea where to start.
And in this case, we'd used telephone poles to get you up to Beartooth Point, and we're now using some beer cans to sort of lead you in the general direction away from that. Of course, we rapidly saw that these teens were drinking a truly ludicrous number of beers in one walk.
I think you and I both placed quite a few of these beer cans, probably you even more than I.
Yep.
It started to sort of strain credulity.
Right, which is why I think we had to add that case at the end just to make it plausible
Yeah,
that there are something like 30 cans out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably the best tool we ended up coming up with for this, which was the smoke plume,
Right.
was because we were getting increasingly uncomfortable with stretching fiction so far to the point of adding this many like Hansel and Gretel
That's right.
beer cans.
That's right. And but even then, the smoke plume was not enough. Many players didn't notice it or weren't looking up, which we know is a common game design problem. And that's when we started adding dialogue where Henry could call into Delilah and basically say, "Where do you have any ideas? I'm lost. I still can't find them." Kind of mirroring what we saw in playtesting where people did get lost and got frustrated.
Right.
Ultimately, when that fell down,
Eventually, if you have not noticed anything, you haven't asked Delilah about any of this stuff, she will just call you and say, "Hey, I see some smoke. Maybe that's where you should go."
right. And that pretty well sews it up.
The sort of full court press of all of those things. I think most players eventually find their way to the teens. I mean, we figured it was okay for players to get lost a little bit. I mean, that is the point of this. You are supposed to be on an aimless search a little bit on this
Right.
mission. But, you know, I think with all of the different tools we added in, most players eventually feel like they're actually
Right.
on some kind of trail.
I mean, I suggested an omniscient satellite AI that could contact you and tell you
Yeah.
exactly where to go, but that was shot
It was
down.
it was a late cut.
Yeah.
Hey, Delilah?
What do you got? You found him?
No, not yet. Why would there be a fence out here?
Because sometimes hikers go ass over tea kettle when on a trail.
So the Forest Service would put up a big chain link fence?
A chain link fence?
Yeah. It looks like it surrounds a huge area.
Huh. That's weird.
Who are they keeping out of here? And why?
Geez, I don't know. Maybe it's biologists, you know? Well, they don't want people traipsing on their precious lichens.
What's a lichen?
Well, wouldn't you liken to know?
Oh my god, goodbye.
I'll ask next time I talk to someone, but that'll probably be a few days.
Hi, I'm Will, and I was the gameplay and systems programmer on Firewatch.
And I'm James, and I was the animator on Firewatch.
And we're here to talk about climbing and mantling today.
We had a bunch of stuff that essentially was more point-to-point interactive stuff, where you'd sort of like look to the rock you wanted to put your hand on and click on it, and you'd kind of do that. A lot of the platforming-y type stuff just got pared down because as you make the game, you realize what game you're making, and it's not really about being an athletic climbing person. It just kind of like made the game slower when you were trying to get to the next conversation. Mostly what the climbing stuff ended up being useful for in like game design terms was characterization. So some of the mantles do a decent job of getting across that Henry is kind of a lumbering, slightly heavier person, as we sort of like force you to watch Henry kind of slug over an edge rather than being a nimble, mirror's edgy person.
We also use it a lot of times to break up sightlines so that you get a good vista as you come up over a mantle, like when you see the man with the flashlight for the first time, or kind of see the burned forest.
In the cave, sometimes we use the camera animation on mantles to hide a sort of teleport to a different part of the cave, which was pretty useful actually, so that was quite good.
The reason that it all got pared down is we didn't want you to ever fall off the cliff, didn't want you to back down them. Like, nobody ever wanted to climb back up those twice, so we just made them simpler and simpler and simpler until eventually getting to you just hit the button and climb all the way up.
One of the earliest conversations I had with Jake, he just sort of casually mentioned, oh, and we're thinking that you can't die in this game, and which
now seems like the most obvious design decision ever for Firewatch, but I'd only been making games before then where it's like, yeah, and then you have your character can die and you respawn and like traditional video game stuff. And the idea suddenly of like, oh, like how do you make content that still feels like I'm climbing over stuff and I'm doing things, but with absolutely no risk. And I remember at the very beginning being like, oh god, is that going to be a huge problem? Of course now, if you ever saw Henry fall to his death in the game, it would be ludicrous and ruin the moment.
Absolutely.
But Firewatch 2 is going to have lots and lots of falling to your death, obviously.
I see a really thin plume of smoke.
Yeah, I see it too. A thin plume like this is either a new fire or a campfire.
Campfire. You think it's them?
I reckon so.
It looks like it's to the southwest of me.
That's right. If you hike towards 5 Mile Creek, that should put you in the neighborhood. Keep an eye on that smoke plume. Let me know if it's getting any larger.
Will do.
What does she have?
She's got Alzheimer's, like dementia.
Whoa. How old was she?
Is she? She's alive. She's with her family in Melbourne, Australia. She's 43.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What was it like when you guys found out?
Well, we didn't really understand what was happening. You don't get Alzheimer's in your late 30s.
No kidding.
But even then, we didn't really get it until she couldn't work anymore and I couldn't leave her alone. It wasn't until then that I said, oh, this is it. This is over. That was hard. I'm sorry to be such a downer.
Don't even. I'm happy to listen. And, we'll try to have some fun this summer. I promise. I'm having a hell of a time getting this fucking flapjack off his ass and out to repair that wire.
Excuse me, Flapjack?
Like a loser, a chotch.
I really don't, but I do now.
Well, the next time you're at a bar and some banker steps on your foot so he can order his crappy martini, you've got just the name to use.
Hey, Flapjack, why don't you wait your turn before I bounce your face off a dumpster?
It's beautiful.
Oh, hey, this is Ben again, and I'm here with Paolo.
Hello, I'm Paolo. I was the graphics programmer on Firewatch.
So we're here to talk a little bit about the time of day system that the game uses and the skybox stuff. You're in an area where there's a weird device that you can use to step and mess around with those while we talk.
As you can see around you right now, you can walk on the different parts there, and you'll see the weather changing. So immediately when we started working on Firewatch, there were a couple of important points. We had to have a dynamic time of day. So at any point, people could trigger changing the sky, changing the fog, changing each individual component independently. At the same time, this has all sorts of technical implications, but the most important are, okay, how do we represent all this information? Games have many ways of baking data, which means that you sort of gather the lighting information in a scene and then you save it into memory, which is usually a texture or other data structures, to then use it in real time. Now, the problem with that was that we had a lot of different permutations and we wanted them to change in real time. And also, we didn't know ahead of time how many we were going to have. So we tried to go with a fully dynamic solution. In this case, what dynamic means is just that as you walk around, you'll see the sun moving around, the sky color changing, the fog color changing, and the shadows moving. So all those components are always rendered every frame, and there's no information that is stored anywhere.
So what pieces make up the sky again?
The sky, we tried first an approach of representing sort of a simplified version of the scattering equation and seeing what that would look like. And it was looking good in the game, but it was still very difficult to author. And since Ollie, as the art director, is absolutely talented with colors, at some point we just sat down and we sort of worked together and said, okay, imagine that you could just paint the sky in Photoshop and think about how that would work in the game. It might just magically work. And by doing that, we basically dissected his process of assembling just a painted sky in Photoshop, and we created a shader, which are basically programs that run on the GPU to render things, that suited his exact style. So really, the sky is just a series of gradients that blend into each other with a couple of controls to change curves and attenuations between them. So as you walk around, you'll be able to see how both the sky changes and then the fog adapts to the same color and the sun moves in the right direction. And then there were just a couple of numbers to make sure that like the brightness around the sun would be higher so that it would still sort of represent and give the feeling of what the sky and how the sky behaves.
And this like gave Ollie the ability to test some things very quickly.
Exactly. Having immediate feedback for filling a world that was as big as Firewatch, especially for the sort of limited team size that we had, was absolutely important. Like, we had to have a way so that artists would make something quickly, have an idea of what it would look in the game, and knowing that it was pretty close to what we were going to ship.
Yep.
Wow, I'm on top of a natural bridge out here.
Really? Is it a complete arch?
No, I guess the bridge is out here. Still, I think I could jump this gap to get across the canyon.
Well, you're a regular Evel Knievel.
Oh yeah, you should see the jumpsuit I'm wearing.